Today I'll be sharing the second part of the day of my husband's car accident. I believe where I last left off, I was about to share my experience of seeing my husband for the first time in the ICU. The restrictions were only 2 visitors at a time and to please be very quiet. So my father-in-law and I went in to see him first. I remember being kind of terrified because I didn't know what I was going to see. When you think of, so-and-so's been in a terrible car accident, you can imagine either what you've seen in movies or just imagining what they could look like. And also the fear of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to be seeing. And I remember once we got to the doorway and we saw him, my gut dropped like a cinder block. It just whoosh. My whole being felt like it was going to go to the next few floors below us because we were on the 4th floor. And I, of course, wept at the sight of him. It didn't help that he wasn't really cleaned up prior to us seeing him. And what I mean by that is he still had dried blood on his face, all over his face, and part of his arms and his chest and everything. You could tell they tried to clean up a little bit, but there was still a significant amount, which didn't help at all in seeing him in that way. The doctor came in, tried explaining some things. At this point, he was trying to get stable. He had a whole concoction of meds going, I guess. He had a whole cocktail of stuff that was being pumped into him and everything, and it was horrifying. Especially knowing my husband before, being a very well fit person, someone who never was really sick. He didn't get sick very often. If he did, it was just like maybe ever so slight. Was super fit. He grew up on a farm. He was an electrician. He kind of didn't need to work out because he was moving all the time. And to see him like that was just really devastating. Later that day, we were getting ready to leave because it was getting in the late evening, and we were advised to, not only because visiting hours were ending soon, but for our sakes, to go home and rest. Don't stick around. They heavily pushed us to take care of ourselves so that we can be there for him, which I really appreciated. So I went in to see him before I left. And, he is completely sedated. Like he's out. He's not waking up anytime soon. And I tell him that I love him. I'll see him later. And I turn to leave. And then I happen to glance behind me as I'm leaving, and his hand goes up like this and goes back down. Like all the way up and comes back down. Like he was waving goodbye. And I lose it. I'm walking down the hallway back to the waiting room. I'm just bawling. And my mother-in-law meets me, and she, of course, her first thought was, what happened? Did something happen while you were in there? Like, is he dead? Like, what went on? And all I said was, he waved at me. And she turned to the rest of the family, who was also waiting and seeing me walking out, bawling, reassured. He just waved at her. It's okay. We're good. He's fine. And one of the things that happened right before that was that I had noticed that there had been a significant amount of blood on his pillow, just kind of around the head, that I didn't know should be there or not. So I alerted a nurse. She said she would look into it. She thought it was just the bandages on his head that had soaked and was leaking or something. And we all went home. And in the next video, I will share what happened after I got home, because the blood on his pillow was not normal. So stay tuned for the next video. In the meantime, like and subscribe, share to other people who you think this will be encouraging or inspiring to. I know this is a pretty heavy situation and story, but who knows? Maybe there is something good out of this whole horrific thing that we can't see yet.